Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about a unique knife from Cold Steel. And the reason I wanted to do it was because I saw that Cold Steel got sold to GSM. And I just remembered that I had this, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I ever did a video about this. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Cold Steel Paradox. So if you're watching on headphones, turn down the volume, because here comes the music. What is the Cold Steel Paradox? Well, the Cold Steel Paradox is a fake balisong. Now, they came out with this, it's been years ago. It's been a long time. I've had this knife for a very long time. Never got carried because it's really not that user-friendly. It was a cool little concept. What they did was they decided that they were going to make a knife that looks like a balisong but was legal because it locks. So They kind of got the cues right. The blade shape is great. This knife is, once it's open and everything, it's a really, really, really good knife. However, it's just not quite, it just didn't ever quite take off because it really, really didn't do anything that anybody wanted it to do. So without any further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to get some specs, we'll get some weights, we'll get everything. I even still have the original box for this item. Like I was saying, we'll get down here. We'll look at the knife up close. We'll get some weights and specs, and we'll take a good close look at the Cold Steel Paradox. All right, guys. I apologize if the audio was a little weird in a couple of the last videos. My other phone had a broken microphone, and I didn't realize it. So I realized real quick that now that I am doing these videos with a camera that actually has the proper microphone, that some of the audio is way too loud when I'm close to the camera like this, so I'm not going to talk as loud. So that out of the way, this is the Cold Steel Paradox. Now, this was unique. I wanted one, I got one, and then immediately realized it was never going to quite be what I had wanted it to be. I did not realize that the action on this was so difficult to operate. It is absolutely a two-hand opener. So what this was it is basically, it's like having two traditional style pocket knives. That's what that is. It's like a traditional folder, but you've got two of them. And so the blade is enclosed in, sorry guys, in here. So you break that one open, then you open that one. And then to close it, you always remember to get your hand out of the way because when it snaps, it snaps. So all it is, it's one blade with two handles off of like a traditional pocket knife. And when you open them up, they lock. So blade shape on it's really good, but before we get into any of that, let's set this down and we'll get into some specs. We'll just take a look at it here. So this is the Cold Steel Paradox. There were two versions. There was a Grivery version, which I have, it's just their high density plastic that they used on handles. It's actually really good handle material. I always liked it. This is a discontinued model, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So there was an aluminum version, and then there was this version. So this version was the Grivery version. This was $69. And the specs on this are going to be really limited because this knife has not been around for a while, and there's not very many places that have info on them still. So this was $69, $94 if you got the polished aluminum handles. It does have a pocket clip, as you can see. So this is a blade length of 4.5 inches with an overall length of 9.5 inches, and the blade stock on this is 3.5 millimeters thick. Now, I don't know why everything else was in English, or in, not English, in like standard and imperial, and then the rest of it was in metric. I do not know why the blade thickness was in metric versus imperial for everything else. So, guys, I apologize up front. I am really tired. But, so yeah, and then this was supposed to weigh 6 ounces, but we're going to see. Hang on just a second. We're going to fly the scale in. Okay, so in ounces, this is reading right at 5 3/4 ounces, so just about 6 ounces. But then again, the only information I could find on these knives was based on the aluminum one. So that could be a big chunk of that. So in grams, for you guys that do it in grams instead of freedom units, you're looking at 163 grams. So it's not a light knife. And I will tell you, this knife never, ever, ever, ever got carried. And the main reason is it's got an overall length of 9.5 inches. This is not a carry it in your pocket, take it out and help your kid cut up an apple kind of thing. It's very aggressive looking and it will probably cause you some problems. The other thing too is in pocket, it is not comfortable. It's not great. I never carried this knife. I've never gotten rid of it and it is in mint condition. This is a mint condition cold steel Paradox. So these were made in their Taiwan factory. But the thing was, everybody got these and then they thought they were going to be able to just modify them so that they could flip them. And you really can't. Once you take that spring out, that's the only thing that locks it either open or closed. And I know there's a lot of bally guys out there that's not an issue for them. But, you know, you have your hallmarks of the bally community. Like this is your, this lets you know this is your live edge. So you know which hand, you know what you're doing. You have a reference point. But it is so awkward to use. Like if you were going to try to carry this, you couldn't carry this in a self-defense role. You couldn't carry this on a job site and have this be something you could use. It basically, this was such a novelty that nothing ever happened. And then there's another thing with this that I have noticed, and I don't know if it still does it because I've sharpened it a couple times. It's mint, except it's been sharpened. Yeah, it still does it. When you allow this to snap like that, it hits inside. And I can see the spot inside. Let's see. Can we get a spot? Can you see? Right there. It hits. So every time you close it, like a good portion of this knife goes dull. So not a great knife. I mean, they were trying to capitalize on some of the popularity of the Bally's and things like that. But it just never, ever, ever worked out for them. And it just wasn't a great knife. It's one of the few cold steel designs I can say that just was a flop in my book. So let's do some size comparison while we've got it out. So we'll do a couple size comparisons with it closed. Closed next to my Sebenza, closed next to, that is not the knife at all I was looking to pull out of my pocket, closed next to my Benchmade 940. So you can see closed, it's massive in pocket. It's huge in your pocket. It takes up so much space. Sebenza's not a little knife, but it's not just the, look at the acreage that's taking up in your pocket. It's actually wider closed than it is open. So let's go ahead and get some actual overall size comparisons. We can zoom this back out. So overall length compared to a Sebenza, you can see that is, that's too big. It's just too big. And then the Benchmade 940, same thing. I would try and give you some better size comparisons, but a lot of my other knives are out to other YouTube reviewers who are bored because they're at home. So yeah, well, let's tell you what, let's flip this around and do our final thoughts on this. So my final thoughts on this knife, I mean, it's well built. I'm not gonna lie, the knife is well made. There's only just the minor issue in construction as to the blade snapping shut and hitting actually it's not the entire blade. It used to be, it's this one spot here now. And so you can definitely see that it hits. There's a distinct dull spot on the blade where the edge is rolled. So it's not a poorly constructed knife at all. It's actually really well constructed. It's just that this is just one of those knife designs that just really didn't need to happen. There was no real need for this knife to exist. And the fact that they brought it into production and spent time on it is kind of sad. They would have been better off to take time and make a different knife. So this, I can honestly say, is the one cold steel knife I've ever handled that I'm like, nope, it's just horrible. So hang on a second. I have a visitor and the guests are gone. Like I said, if I remember what I was saying was this knife didn't need to exist. I mean, it doesn't really fit any niche. No one really, the Bally flippers don't like it. Guys that wanted something that was like a balisong but easy to use didn't like it. And the fact is, like I said, it's really not, everybody's like, oh, it's so innovative. It's really not. It was just basically simply the equivalent of taking the backs of 2 buck folding knives with the tension spring on the back, you know, a friction folder style, and putting 2 of them together with 1 blade in the middle. That's all they really did. So I will say when it's open and it's locked up, it is comfortable, but with that flaw where a chunk of the blade is dull every time you open it, it's just pretty worthless. It's just a pretty worthless knife, to tell you the truth. So very rarely am I ever going to just dog on a knife completely and say it's completely worthless, but this is truly, truly, truly one of those knives that just did not need to happen. It didn't really serve a purpose. It basically gave you something that looked and felt like a bally until you tried to open it to get around, you know, for guys that wanted to look like they carried a balisong, but really didn't. So it was one of those weird ones. So guys, I'm trying to mention this in the videos. We have a giveaway going on the 20th for all of the, I'm done talking about that. If you haven't noticed, I'm done talking about that. I just wanted to get this off of my plate to never have to do this video again. We have a bunch of people that have joined the channel. I had done a giveaway where I said I was only going to do it to the top 2 tiers. The bottom tier was not going to get entered into this, but I had a bunch of people that joined and are now members. And I was like, you know, that's not really fair. They're all paying members. So I'm entering everyone now, just so you guys know, entering everyone into the Stonefish giveaway that I'm doing for the members. And if you did not already enter into the big giveaway, I looked at it. We're giving away about almost $1,000 worth of stuff on the channel this month. So yeah, it's kind of a big month. There are going to be a couple other videos coming. I currently have something right here that I have wanted to do a video about for a very long time. I'm not even going to show it to you. Actually, yeah, I will. It's the Demco 8020. This is a G10 one that came in from Neves. I really do like this knife. It does have some issues, has some flaws that I wish it didn't. But none of them are flaws, really. I shouldn't even say flaws. It just has things about it that I don't like. So we're definitely going to see this video. I had a bunch of 2 Sun stuff come in. I have another double action, hidden action, double action that we're going to do videos about. And I just got some stuff in. So I'm going to get some videos ready for you guys. And members, I hope you're enjoying the early content. I cannot do sharpening right now. I apologize. I can't do a video of sharpening, I should say, right now. I know I owe you a tutorial video, but they're doing stucco in my yard and I can't really film out there. So I am still doing sharpening, but it is delayed because I'm having a hard time working. So guys, that's it. That's all I got. Cold Steel Paradox. If you guys want to buy one, I've got one right here it's only been carried like twice. So I love you guys. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. And if you really like the videos, if you really, really like the videos, there's an applause button down below. My wife just pulled into the garage because it is 1:30 in the afternoon and she just got home from work. So I'm going to end this. I love you guys. Take it easy. Follow the content. Do a marathon of content if you want. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next video.